the Friday Mind Emission on the Toad Cam in New York, Toad City. Straight talk on drugs, your brain, and you. The brain. First of all, I see people on YouTubes and elsewhere, as I have seen in real life, consuming epic quantities of various drugs, known and unknown. It's really hard not to, at my advanced age, see a lot of that is very foolish, immature, ungrounded behavior. Although I would be an absolute hypocrite to say that I am totally against drugs, I have never used drugs, etc. That's not true. I have used multiple forms of psychedelics and others with gusto throughout my life. And I feel like I'm quite fortunate to have escaped with my ass intact, I think. But if there's anything I did learn from this, is that drugs do not function in isolation. There's some kind of general belief or fantasy in this culture that drugs will somehow just transform you, or you just have to take the drug and the drug does the work. The drug really is tricking your brain into doing the work. The drug is not tripping, your brain is tripping. Your consciousness is altered. The drug is altering chemical balances in your brain that allow for alterations in consciousness. But the game, what it's really about, is still consciousness. Okay? It's not about the drugs, it's about consciousness and the learning that you get from that. We do know now, I think to a far greater level of appreciation, that the adolescent brain into early adulthood is quite plastic. It's undergoing a number of changes. And it's probably far more vulnerable to insults than the adult brain, than the sort of solidified adult brain. And by insults, I mean chemical insults, which could be drugs, chemicals, toxins, physical insults. We're now discovering that all that real beefy, macho, high school, hit 'em hard football culture is probably, I would say very probably, if not certainly, producing a population of traumatically brain injured, subtly brain injured young warriors, okay? Young football player warriors, even soccer players. Now there are brain studies showing soccer players having, because they head the ball with their foreheads, developing a damage to the frontal lobes, a kind of a bruising and a wearing away, and the accumulation of a protein called tau protein. So being a clean living, hard-hitting sportsman is probably another good way to subtly erode your brain function and subtly achieve a level of tau protein accumulation and slow neurodegenerative disease. But I greatly blame adult culture and performance culture and the way sports have been professionalized in inducing a really dangerous and stupidly self-destructive behavior in kids that don't know that they're really being manipulated by adults into living out the fantasies of an adult population that want to have their glory days relived for them vicariously by their kids through contact sports. So I'm not going to lay the entire blame for this thing at the foot of drugs, because physical insults also are a source of a serious degradation of brain function, or slow and subtle, insidious degradation of brain function that may not appear for decades later. And the third, I think the adolescent brain is very vulnerable to emotional insult, to environmental insults. You get these cases of bullying and mobbing behavior, which is really a primate behavior. It's a monkey behavior, which has been kind of revivified in the adolescents. The adolescents are a little more primate-like. They haven't quite got the fully developed adult frontal lobes in place, in the orbitofrontal cortices and the dorsolateral frontal regions in place yet. And so without those very high-level, modern, we would call it, control functions, the adolescent brain tends to be a little more of a monkey brain and do crazy emotional monkey stuff and have monkey love and monkey sex and monkey fights and monkey bonding and form monkey teams and whatever this monkey herds or whatever. I don't know what monkeys get together and what do you call a group of monkeys, a monkey clack. But nonetheless, drugs in excess, and this very, very much includes alcohol, are significant sources of chemical insults to the brain, which I believe can really derail or disorder the normal maturation of the brain. So I'm not going to come here and give you a totally, hey man, let's all go do dope. No, I don't see it that way at all. My sensibilities around the use of selective use of intoxicants fits within a number of nested models and nested contexts, which are basically not party contexts. So that will be my little editorial parental grumble for Friday. I rarely do these things, but I guess that one of them is in order.